Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mindset Channel. My name's Jono.
And I'm Crom. Welcome again.
Okay, today we're going to continue on with our 14-day mindset techniques that we started going through with you last week. We did parts 1, 2, and 3 last week. Today we're going to start on day 4.
We're gonna be doing day 4, 5, and 6. And if we still have time, we'll go to day 7. The reason we're telling you guys this one is actually just to give you an overview on what is a reset looking like, right? Without going very, very granular, which is now the techniques and the actual content involved in that reset.
Exactly. What we're going through here is very much giving you the overview of how this can work and how it can be effective for you.
Yeah. Let's get started with morning visualizations.
Really important thing, okay? Never underestimate the power of a good visualization. If you watch any professional sports person, watch the golfers. They all stand back from their ball, they visualize the shot. Watch anyone in the NRL or in the rugby or something like that taking a shot at goal. You'll see them actually visualize and trace their shot before they actually
Mm.
do it. Visualization is absolutely key, and it's not just for elite sports people, although they do a lot of it. It's effective for anyone. So, where we're starting day 4 here is in visualizing success. Really simple technique. So, step 1 is simply spending 5 minutes in the morning visualizing what success looks like. Okay, so if you've
Mm.
got if you've got a point that you're stuck on, just spend 5 minutes in the morning visualizing yourself making your way through that sticking point. Really simple thing. Now, there's a couple of things that are really important when you engage in visualizations. Engage all the senses in it as well, because that's how our minds work. The more information you can give your mind about something to latch onto, the better your mind latches onto it.
Yeah.
So as you're doing the visualization, take into account all the senses. Okay. In this visualization, what would you see? What would you hear? Would there be breeze? What would you smell? What would you taste? Just engage as many of your senses as you can, and your brain will really latch onto that.
Mm. I'll give you an example on that one is when I used to do events for a big event, right? And what I would visualize how the event would unfold, like the cheer of the crowd, um, the canapes at the after party, right? We can visualize
Love a
how
good
that
can.
tastes already. Yeah. And also how it would feel when you succeed. So those are the parts that I just want to add those are the parts that I am engaging, or those are the senses I am engaging. Just little information here, guys. Visualization is so powerful because it's actually biological as well. So we have the big brain, the cerebrum and cerebellum, and as the biggest part of the brain, and underneath that or behind that, around the back of your head, is the occipital lobe. That whole ecosystem of brain, occipital lobe, is actually designed just for the visuals, right? And then you got the middle brain or the primitive brain in the middle. And why am I pointing that out? Because it requires that much brain power to see something, right? That's why we say, oh, visualize it, see it. Because our brains as a human being, we're one of the few animals in the animal kingdom. And yes, there's only a few. Not all animals are that can see in color. Like a
Yeah,
horse can't see in color, right? The dog can't see in color. Cats can't see in color, but we can see in color, and we can thank our ancestors, our tree-dwelling ancestors, to see in color because they need to pick up a ripe fruit or a raw fruit, right?
yeah,
So they
exactly.
need to see. how it feels. Now, so they need to see what they're going for. So we're designed to see what we're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why visualizations, and we don't mean it literally as in visual, although that's already part of it, right? You're seeing something that can unfold in your mind's eye.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
a lot of people are gets tripped up with this, by the way, John. One of the commentaries that I hear a lot is, it feels like I'm lying. Yeah. It feels like an imposter syndrome. I'm hearing that a lot. And my response to that one is pretty much the same. I said, I ask you to see it. I didn't ask you to feel it yet. Because
Mm,
you're that feeling of I'm an imposter is getting in the way,
right.
right? See it first. When you really can see it, all right, add the audio or what you can hear, and you leave the how it feels maybe last.
Leave that to and that's a really, really good point. Really good point. And that's exactly it. So when you are visualizing, you don't have to visualize things all the way through to the end straight away. If you've got a stuck point, you can even just visualize getting through that first point of being stuck. Okay. And then get on to the next one. You don't have to visualize to the end straight away, but and as you gain that ability to visualize it, you're absolutely right. Then start to add in, what would you be hearing in that situation, etc. And that takes us into step number 4 here, which is engaging exactly as you said, leave it till last, engaging in the emotional connection of this visualization. As you engage in the visualization and all its other components, and you can see yourself succeeding, engage in the emotions that come with that.
Mm.
Engage in those emotions of success and of confidence. And at the risk of repeating myself, because I do that a lot, remember the way in the first session, I think it was the first
Yeah,
video
first
we
session we talked about confidence.
talked about confidence. Remember, confidence is like a muscle. It's not binary. It's not something you have or don't have. Confidence is like a muscle. And if you do the right exercises, you build confidence. Visualization is absolutely one of the right exercises. So as you visualize the components, you hear the components, then engage in the emotions of confidence and success.
All right. Now, what's this visualization journal? I've never really heard of that. Normally I visualize, but
Yeah.
visualization journal?
Yeah, I'm big on journaling.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said last, I think it was in the last episode. Teenage girls were right all along. Everyone should be journaling in, okay? Because the act of journaling, what it does, when you pick up a pen and pick up paper and actually write something down, it cognitively engages you in it, engages that logical part of your mind, and it makes the whole thing very real. So after you've completed your visualization, get to your journal and just put down a few points and summarize it. Summarize
Mm,
what happened, summarize how successful the visualization was, summarize the details, summarize your emotions that you felt during the process. The idea is basically with that visualization journal, by journaling the details and components of your visualization, it just reinforces the positivity in your mind
mm.
and that you're going to succeed.
I think that's one of the problems with teenage girls that when they journal, it's usually about their broken hearts and their angst.
But this is the thing. It's
Mm,
also the right thing to do. You can set
mm,
a couple of ways to journal. What we're journaling is success here, but it's the same principle. Okay.
mm, mm.
When someone's is experiencing angst or confusion or a heartbreak, whatever, it's still absolutely as relevant. That
Yes.
act of getting pen and paper and actually writing it down just cognitively engages you. So it gets you out of
Mm.
emotional mind thinking.
Would that still work with computers? Because I'll give you a scenario. I am a note taker. I'm always with a notebook and a pen
Yeah,
because I believe if I write it down on my notebook, it's me writing the information in my
it's
head.
exactly, and it's more tactile. You've
Mm.
got that tactile component, whereas
Yeah.
clacking away on the computer is not quite the same.
Yeah, maybe it's different. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with writing. And what I like
Yeah.
about pen and paper is you can take it with you, right? I've tried journaling success, thoughts, ideas with my computer
Mm.
and my phone. But I found that my phone is distracting, right? And I end up checking YouTube in the end rather than finishing what I'm supposed to write.
Exactly right. And if you're just journaling in a particular, if you're in a particular book or a particular file that you journal in, and you're actually writing it, that's all it's for.
Mm,
Okay. Whereas your computer's for a whole bunch of other things. Your phone's for, a whole bunch of other things as well. If you're just doing it in a journal and writing it down, that's all that's for.
yeah,
Okay. It just
yeah.
allows you to focus on things and make them a bit more real.
So this visualization journal, is that future tense or is it present tense? Like, how do you actually use this process?
Well, for the purpose of in the context of what we're doing now,
Yeah,
this is visualizing success. So this is visualizing future success at this point. So that's the context in which we're doing it.
yeah,
But you can also, I mean, when you get into journaling, you can visualize current success, current issues.
yeah,
There's a number of ways you can do it.
yeah. Because the way affirmation I was taught anyway is speak as if it's already the wish is already fulfilled,
Mm.
right? And it's very hard to speak in present tense or past tense when you're thinking of the future.
Yeah.
That was a challenging one. And I ended up really nailing my present tense, hey.
Mm. Nice.
Eventually. Yeah. So that's visualizing success.
Yeah.
Okay, let's now go to creating micro actions. The first part here is breaking it down.
Yeah. So just choose a goal that's
Yeah.
related to whatever you're stuck on, and just break it into its smallest possible actions that you can do to
Mm,
remember, moving forward and getting through a stuck point is about all the small one percenters. That's what it's all about. People make the mistake. They get stuck because they sit back and wait for this blinding flash to
mm,
come over them, this blinding flash of inspiration to come over them, which will fix their issue. And it just very rarely works. Like occasionally you have a blinding flash, sure, but it very rarely works like that. It's about breaking the issue down into its smallest components
yeah.
and then taking the small actions.
One micro action at a time.
Yeah. And that's essentially it. So as we break it down to get it into its smallest components, you then do one micro action at a time. These small components are the micro actions, one at a time. And the important thing of that, doing it one at a time, is when people have got a bit of a stuck point, they generally run a little bit of overwhelm with it as well. Okay.
Mm,
When people run overwhelmed, there's just too much coming at them. There's just too many thoughts going on. So you don't have to do it that way. Make it easy on yourself. Break it
mm.
down into a singular micro action.
Can you give me an
Okay.
example of a micro action? Let's say, what's a good one? Success, getting promoted, for example.
Mhm.
Um, what's a good micro action on that one after you broke it down?
So like something like that. It's a fairly broad topic, I guess. But look,
Yep.
The micro actions would be you want to get promoted. Maybe it's as simple as this. Am I performing at my best? Okay.
Mm.
Am I actually performing to a point where someone would want to promote me? Okay. The micro action might be just take a step back, do a little snapshot of yourself, bit of a snapshot and see where you're really at. If I'm good here, I'm good here, but I'm not great in this section. There you go. You've got a micro action to work on. You start working on that section, self up that way. It might then be, okay, my micro action was to fix something I'm not great at. Perhaps now I need to get noticed. So the next micro action might be something as simple in this context of getting promoted, going and having a chat to the person who might be looking for someone to promote.
Mm.
Okay. No point making all this great improvement on yourself if it's the best kept secret in the office. Exactly right. So just, take these simple steps forward, engage with people. From there as well, really importantly, so point 3 here
Yeah.
is to actually track your progress.
Mm.
It's so simple, but just in the same way as a lot of people don't bother to pause and decide what their end goal is
Mm.
and wonder why they can't get there. It's a lot easier to see how you're doing if you track your progress. And most importantly, so whether you're using a journal for tracking progress, perhaps there's an app or something as well, okay, for tracking progress. This is different to the visualization journal, okay? But track your progress. And importantly, the idea of tracking your progress is to celebrate each small win.
Mm.
That's the point. That's the point of doing it. Celebrating each small win. If you track your progress, you can more easily do that.
Yeah. When we track our progress, this is just me. I like the qualitative KPI and the quantitative KPI because I've been marketing for 20 years, right? I started in 2004 officially.
Yeah. Run
Yeah.
us through that. That sounds really interesting. Run us through
Yeah.
that.
I'll give you an example. Some of my work is only as good as the last metrics or the last sales, the last ranking that I got for a client or a company. How many views I got organically, or how many views and impressions I got by click, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the quantitative ones, right? My qualitative KPI is how many people said well done, for example, or how many times I almost jumped out of my seat because my results were good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or how many times? I know I'm still saying how many times, right? Because I'm still that's I'm tracking the progress, right? But it's no longer just a number. I'm actually have a qualitative progress report. For example, one of my the things I wanted to do was when I was doing martial arts is to get my third degree black belt. I got four. Sorry, but anyway, that's not the topic. My
I
third
discovered salt and invented FM radio.
ta-da! All I wanted to do is go to a certain level in jiu-jitsu and in aikido. And I wanted when we are going to seminars, I wanted my sensei to use me as the guy he does the techniques too, right? Because there's the idea of Aikido, the more you train with the main sensei, the more you're gonna learn or get their key or their knowledge and wisdom, right? So everyone's trying to grab his attention and his training time. If he's teaching, you can't train with him. So the only way really to train with him is when he's doing the technique on you. You can feel how hard, strong, all that stuff. So I made sure as part of my progress in martial arts is the sensei is always calling me, Crum, come up in the middle. Let me demonstrate this technique. And I was the guy. So that's the qualitative one. The other
Yeah,
one
no,
is how many times, for example, when you're talking about relationships, right? In your progress report with your relationship, can you believe I actually thought about a progress report in my relationship?
really?
Yeah, I even have a happiness plan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because everybody has this wealth plan on how to become rich, right? So I have a happiness plan. So I
I think that,
actually,
I think that is great. Okay, I think that is absolutely brilliant. And you're dead right. Everyone focuses on their wealth plan.
yeah.
And sure, being financially secure can add to your happiness.
Oh,
It
it
can
will. I mean,
support it, but it won't 100% make you happy. Okay, I
yes,
love that idea of a happiness plan. Love it.
yes. So I have a happiness plan, and a lot of and I broke down my happiness plan, and I've discovered that the pursuit of happiness, which I really believed in because it's a very American thing to hear all the time,
Yeah,
the pursuit of it is actually, it's not what's making me happy. What's making me happy is my growth and when I'm learning new things. And if my relationship with my loved one, family, daughter, all that stuff, mom, dad, mom, sisters, right? And that relationship, sorry, start again. When moments with my loved ones are happy, is my third part of my when I'm the happiest. So growth, I'm learning something, and the moments with my loved one is happy. There will be moments with your loved one where you're not happy, right? So I'm actually using the ones where I am happy with my loved ones and friends as way to gauging that. Right.
fantastic. Really great idea.
Yeah.
Really great idea. I love that whole concept of a happiness plan. That might be something we actually delve into
Yes, we should.
a little
Yeah.
deeper and actually
Yeah.
spend some time on it. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
The
Time
next
commitment. What's that? What
commitment. Time,
commitment?
this is really simple.
Yeah.
What holds a lot of people back from taking action? Okay,
Mm.
is they go, oh, but I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get stuck on it. I'm going to spend the next few hours on it, all this sort of thing. Okay, if you've got the time to do that, do that. But you can also commit to the exact amount of time that you're going to spend on your micro action. Okay. And
Mm.
one of the ideas here is to take action, not give your mind any way to rationalize away from taking action. So it can be as simple as, dedicate 10 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day to taking action on these micro actions and just commit to the time that's realistic. Otherwise, it's going to sit in the bucket of, oh, I don't have time for it. Once I start, I'm going to get stuck on it. Doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Okay. It's action that gets you there. You can't think your way through a stuck point. Taking action will get you through the stuck point.
I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
So your unconscious mind is tricky. I'll give it's a bit tricky. Your your unconscious mind is takes a lot of I get no, start again. Your unconscious mind is deep in the recesses of your psyche, right?
It
So
is.
a typical, I hear this a lot, by the way. I on New Year's Eve, everybody parties. On New Year's Day, everybody recovers. And within a week or two of that one is all about the new me and the new life. I'm gonna make this better, which is great, by the way.
Yeah.
I love New Year's that way because the whole world is doing it with you.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like the social event to become better, right? So that's great. What I've noticed with a lot of people is they start buying weights. They started committing, right, to a certain time. Some people go, I'm going to wake up every morning at 4 a.m. and I'm going to go to the gym,
Mm.
right? As soon as I hear those, I'm going, what time do you normally wake up? 8 a.m. So you're going to wake up at 4 a.m. when you're normally waking at 8 a.m. Yes, because I need to save time and make time and all these reasons, which is logical and rational. Amazing. Now, what happens is that person will go to the gym at 4 a.m., maybe for the first week, maybe the second week, and keep on going, maybe third week. What happens on the third week, two things happen, right? Because they're going gang ho. They're going gang ho 120%. By the way, it doesn't go any higher than 100%. That's number one. Number two, I also tell my martial arts student, always train at 80%.
Yeah.
Because if you go 100%, right, you actually burn the ceiling, right? So 80% all the time. You'll get better faster,
Mm.
right?
Yep,
You
that's
use
exactly right.
go 100% when there's a competition or when you need to demonstrate or you need to do something that is involving a higher level, but train at 80%. Now,
Yeah.
going back to the 4 a.m. guy, usually week 3, that's when the unconscious really says, no, I had enough. What will happen? They will injure themselves.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Or they're injured or they got hurt. Now they need to pause. And this is the thing. This is how tricky the unconscious mind is. Who actually suggested the 4 a.m. idea? Was it the conscious mind? I don't think so. Because it's very unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think about it.
absolutely. And logically, you'd know it
Mm,
wasn't going to make sense, but you're absolutely right.
yeah,
And it's very much one of those unconscious mind decisions.
that's
Okay.
right. And that's the thing about time commitment. You said, Jono, be realistic, right? Or close to realistic anyway. Because
Yeah,
if your realism is here and you're trying to get there, that means you're only here. So as close as possible to here and slightly go to the level you want to go, which is becomes your reality in the end.
that's exactly it. So the whole point on this whole time commitment piece, exactly as you say, it's make it a realistic thing. If you've got 20 minutes in a day to work on this stuff, do the 20 minutes. It's better than not doing anything, okay?
Yeah.
And it doesn't give your mind the opportunity to say, oh, well, I don't have time for that if I do
Yes,
lots.
correct, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the
Um,
best fitness guys I know said, do not train more than 30 minutes and only train 3 times a week max.
mm,
It's like, why? I'm going, and guess because your body will trick you.
yeah,
I was
interesting.
like, really? And I'm thinking, is it my body tricking? Is it the body tricking you, or is it the unconscious mind tricking you into giving up? Right? Be-
Yeah,
because one will start making excuses. And the biggest excuse of them, this is the hardest part of the day when you're going to the gym or the dojo or your fitness or your when you're trying to change something, is
yeah,
that time when you finish work and going to the gym, that part.
yeah,
Because on your way to the gym, it's like, oh, you're busy. You need to finish all these. Meh, meh, meh. It's all your unconscious mind, your lizard brain saying, I don't want to do this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you need to be done.
Exactly right. Exactly
Yeah.
right. So that's the time commitment piece. And the very last step under creating the micro actions is we touched on it a little bit before, but celebrate every win. Every time you complete a micro action, celebrate it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Nothing else needs to be added there. Just simple
Yeah.
as that. Celebrate.
Maybe I do want to add one thing.
Go on.
So with micro actions, there's small actions, like they're micro actions, right? You can also match that with the celebration of micro action. Mine is very simple. Well done, Carl.
Yeah.
As
Yep.
simple as that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well
Exactly.
done. Like you would verbally say to yourself, well done, mate.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Really important thing to do.
Yeah. All right. What's anchoring positive state? That's really going into this trance level. And I'm not talking about the music, as in trance, as in hypnosis level. What is
Yeah.
anchoring positive states?
So look, this is something that I'm very passionate about. Anyone that might be watching that's actually worked with me will know that I spend quite a bit of time on anchoring. Okay. I use anchors myself. Okay. On a daily basis. They're very powerful. So let's go quickly through what is an anchor.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just sort of run through what anchors actually are. If you've ever been driving in your car and you hear a song on a radio, and it takes you back to a memory from years ago, and you are mentally and emotionally there as you,
Mm.
that song has anchored you. It's an auditory anchor. It's anchored you to something very real. So too, if you walk into a room and you smell something, you're like, oh my goodness, that reminds me of such and such a place, such and such a person. They tend to be very powerful anchors. That's an olfactory anchor. Um, what we're talking about here is, and there's a couple of ways you can go about anchoring.
Yep.
Okay. It's essentially anchoring yourself to a particular high resource state by using a physical action of some sort, is essentially what anchoring is all about. Very, very powerful tool. Um, every elite sports person in the world has anchors they use. Every single
Mm.
one of them has anchors. I use anchors for when I do public speaking because it calms me down beforehand. I use an anchor myself for when I'm playing golf and I've managed to hit three in the water. I need to get my head back in the game. I I use anchors as well. So essentially, what you can do, there's a couple of ways to go about anchoring. Essentially, what you do, you can either find a anchor to a real positive memory, or quite often when I'm dealing with people who are in depressive states or severely anxious or have been through some trauma, they might struggle to come up with that memory to anchor to. In which
Mm.
case, we just create a visual state. Okay, and we're getting back to that future visualization of success piece a little bit there. Again, that's a whole other conversation. But all intents and purposes for now, we'll just refer to bringing up a memory. Okay, but just know that you can actually create a resource state that you can simply picture as well if you want to do it that way. So essentially, what you're doing, you identify a moment from the past when you felt successful, when you felt effective, when you felt, relaxed, you felt
Yeah.
on top of your game, you felt confident, you trusted your ability to make your way through a situation. Now, as you engage in that memory, again, do exactly what we spoke about the visualization before. So you engage in the memory itself, you engage in the visual, you engage in what sounds might have been there. And the last thing, you engage in all the positive emotions that come
Mm.
with that. And as you engage in those positive emotions, you use a physical anchor of some sort. And that might be as simple as squeezing two fingers together, your index finger and your thumb. It could be something like that. Whatever anchor you want to come up for yourself, you can use that. Okay. So essentially, what you do there, um, you can do it sort of, 4 or 5 times. Sit there, bring up that resource state, bring up that memory, engage in the visual, the sounds, the emotions, then engage your anchor and sit there with your anchor engaged, enjoying that resource state. Then open your eyes again and then do the process again. Bring back that memory. engage in the visuals, engage in the sounds, engage in the components, enjoy the emotional state whilst engaging your anchor. And you repeat it, maybe 4 or 5 times.
Mm.
Okay. And then throughout the day, repeat it, before work, lunchtime, after work, wherever it has to be. Throughout the day, repeat that process. Okay. Very, very powerful tools.
So would you
Very,
say
very,
three times a day, just to when's the
yeah.
best time to do this, do you reckon?
Oh, it's up to the individual, whenever they can relax and just focus on it.
Also,
Okay.
you need to when you're training this anchoring, you need to focus on it for 5 minutes until it becomes second nature, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what'll happen? What'll happen? Your brain's very clever. It'll very quickly start to recognize
Mm.
you engage that anchor, it relates to this resource state that you bring
Hmm.
it back. So after you've practiced it enough, what will happen is you just hit your anchor and this really positive resource state just comes back to you. It
Mm.
completely changes your mental frame. Okay. It's very, very powerful tools. And then essentially, once you've worked on building this anchor, then next time you're feeling this anchor of being resourceful, of being able to make it through anything, then the next time you're in that state, you're in that position where you're stuck, you don't know what to do, you're a bit overwhelmed, engage your anchor. Engage your anchor. And once you've practiced it enough, it will immediately change your mindset and help put you in a much better resource state.
One of my favorite anchors is the Superman pose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
like
great anchor.
yeah, where you make a fist and you put it on your hips. Your legs are or your feet are wide, shoulder wide,
Yep.
and chin up.
Yep.
So that initially was an anchor, as into my hips because no one really grabs me on the hips. So it's a very unique place to put or be touched on. And eventually it evolved into the Superman pose. In case you're wondering, guys, it also is known as the Wonder Woman pose. So it's pretty much a superhero that that saved the day.
Yeah, the
Um,
superhero pose. Exactly
yeah.
right.
Surprisingly, one of the things that I was so surprised is in the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon
Mhm.
and what's his name again? Napoleon, France, Britain, and Prussia.
Yep.
And Prussia was still coming, right? And Napoleon knew that he needs to win before Prussia comes in. Napoleon knew that he needs to beat. Napoleon knew that he needed to beat Wellington before
Yep.
the Prussians come in, right?
Yep.
And I saw this documentary, and one of the things that Lord Wellington and the British Army at the time used in the uniform, they got muskets, they got those really tall hats, is what they have is a leather strap to push their chin up
Yep.
so they can never feel crappy.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Is that actually what
Yeah,
the purpose of that was?
yeah, that's the strap, so they always chin up. If you notice, they're always chinning up in that's so there's this leather strap to hold to force them. They can't do that.
You'd wonder if they actually knew what that was about, or that was
No,
one of those,
they
that was
because
one of
they
those, that was one of those happy mistakes,
that
right?
was a happy mistake because we have it in English, man. It's like, oh, it's all right, mate, chin up. We say
Yeah,
that.
we say it
We
all
s-
the time. You
we
know?
say it on the time. So, but this time they made it to be part of the uniform, right?
Yeah,
And when I heard that, I mean, and the historian who was explaining these parts is of the uniform is So they can't look down. They're always chinning up. They look scary. They look taller. It's scary to the enemy. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm thinking, it's actually gonna give them a bit more confidence,
Yeah,
right?
it's one of those
Yeah.
accidental things that they,
Yeah. And
yeah,
what happened is some people, when they're out of uniform, they take it out, right? They noticed that they started walking permanently chinned up. Number one. And number two, they also missed wearing it.
mm,
Yeah.
interesting.
Because they have anchored that feeling now of being brave, being that they can handle anything with the chin up. Similarly, during the lockdown years, the masks, we had to wear them in public, right? It took me a while to ask my daughter to remove her mask from at school,
Mm,
because it became her um, way of hiding.
yeah,
It gave her that she anchored comfort to that mask. So those are two physical things that we can anchor use on. My grandmother, she always had a rosary with her.
hmm.
So when she starts feeling that she is not feeling good, she'll just start
There's an
doing the
anchor.
rosary. That's an anchor as
Absolutely,
well. Yeah.
absolutely, that's an anchor that she uses. Absolutely,
Mm.
and yeah, very powerful things. Just so everyone knows as well, I'm actually going to put together a um, a separate short video as well to actually run you all through an anchoring process.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do a separate video that will get out there as well. But so the final point on the anchoring is once you've created it,
Yeah.
once you're actually using it, strengthen it from time to time.
Strengthen it.
Okay, strengthen it from
You're charging the anchor?
yeah, essentially
Wow,
recharge.
okay. Yep, yep. Got wow. Okay.
Essentially every so often, go back to that initial routine that you went through when you built the anger. And as you make further success, you can add those further successes to the visualization you use to create your anchor.
Mm.
It was interesting. Just go,
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question
yeah, go for it.
that
Go
just
for it.
came in. I When I watch Wimbledon or the Australian Open, I see Sharapova doing exactly the same touch here, there, boom, boom, and then back, forth, and then
Yep.
and then boom. Then they do the serve. Is that like a more complex or sophisticated anchoring system? Maybe
Yeah,
because that's also technique, but
look, absolutely.
because that doesn't make sense why. Like, is that hair? Because when she's playing, that hair doesn't annoy her, right? It's still there, but she needs to do that, you know?
That's a combination of things. Okay. And I do work with some sports people on exactly this. Okay. That's a combination of process, constant,
Process?
constantly repeatable process.
Ah, process. Gotcha, gotcha.
Want the same outcome, use the same process. Okay.
Mm.
Serving and things like that, they generally go through a very specific process. But that process in and of itself can have an anchoring capability.
Mm.
Okay? Now, there's other things, there's other anchors. And it's interesting you bring up tennis players because if you know what you're looking for, watch the player who's losing. Watch
Mm.
tennis, watch the player who's losing. Um, Andy Murray used to have this, he just almost like let out this roar when he was frustrated. And that would sort of get him back on track. Okay. Leighton Hewitt from years ago, I don't know if you remember Leighton Hewitt, he used to do this strange thing where he touched his
Yeah, it does that.
and sort of do that kind of a flex kind of thing. Um, absolutely an anchor. Absolutely an anchor. So,
How about Johnny Wilkinson?
oh, absolutely. And
You
that
know
was
what he
about,
does?
yeah, that sort of almost looked like he
Yeah.
was
Is it like
praying.
that or like I can't remember now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost looked like he was praying when he was going to kick.
Yeah.
That was about again repeatable process and balance, but there was absolutely an anchoring element to that as well. That was that final piece when he got that position.
Mm.
Few breaths, visualized,
Yeah, yeah.
and then knocked the ball over.
Man,
Knocked the
that
ball.
guy's good. That was the best. I think that was the best World Cup ever.
I think it was the worst because we got done.
I mean, we lost, but it was so dramatic. Like, oh my goodness,
Oh,
that
I
was.
know, I know people who still won't go back and watch rugby because of that. Come on, guys, get back on the horse. Come on.
Yeah, I think that was the beginning of the end of the Wallabies.
It unfortunately was.
We
We
never
could
recovered from that. So,
we could actually do a a series of podcasts, to help traumatize Wallaby fans such as myself.
that's great. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, yeah.
But
So yeah, that's
that's
anchoring, right?
that's anchoring, and that's like I say, I'm going to put together a separate video on that and just give you all a technique that you can use, a really simple one.
Mm,
Uh, there you go, and that was days 4, 5, and 6.
there you go. Though in the next video, we will do 7, 8, and 9. We will not tell you what it is. We will reveal on the day, right?
Yeah,
But guys, the 14-day mindset reset, right? Is if you do this for 14 days, if you can commit to a time in doing this, you wouldn't believe what will happen to your mindset. You wouldn't believe what kind of new horizon that you'll be in.
exactly right. You get your mindset in the right place, and the sky's the limit. And what we're really doing here, we're running through this a few days at a time. At the end of this, what we're going to have is a very well documented process that you can utilize. You can do it for 14 days straight. We'll have a few videos and instructions, some more detail that comes with it. Do it for 14 days straight, make some improvement, let yourself run for a while, and then go back to the start and then repeat the whole process again. Because
Yeah.
this whole idea of improving your mindset, and I can say this after having done thousands of hours of sessions with people helping them improve their mindset. It's all about taking these small steps and taking these small actions. And if you're willing to do that, you can get your mindset to anywhere you want it to be. You can achieve anything you want to achieve.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering why we call it a reset, and let me just put it in very simple terms. When your computer starts slowing down and playing up, or you're fine, right? What do? Just reset the whole thing. Because even that powerful machine, right? It starts getting confused, getting bogged down, starts slowing down. It just
Yep,
needs to turn off and reset. Similarly to our mindset, we need to reset it and ideally put a better one in there.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And again, it's all about just taking these small actions. And if you follow this process, you've got the actions in place.
Yeah.
We're not going to leave anything up to question. It's as simple as that. You follow this particular plan, you can
Yeah.
get where you want to be as far as your mindset goes.
That's it. That's it. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications so you would see the next videos as soon as they are released. And feel free to tell us if you have other mindset reset or mindset techniques in the comment section. Maybe you just didn't like the way I talk about the wallabies. Say that you can also put that in the comment section. I was a Wallaby fan. Anyway, you can put that in the Wallaby section. I'll probably chat with you there. But for now, this is Chrome.
And this is Jono.
Until next time, guys. Thank you.
Until next time. Thanks very much, everyone. See you next week.